Hi, Sheila Keeter, your teacher for inclusion. And today I'm going to talk about African American urban fiction. So let's go ahead and get started with Monster. Monster is a great story. It's very anxiety ridden. It's about a young man who is charged with first-degree murder and could go to jail for the rest of his life. It's perfect for our cultural climate today. The next one is One Crazy Summer, and this is about three girls who have been abandoned by their mother. And so they leave Brooklyn at one point and go see her in Oakland. And she's part of the Black Panther movement, and they learn that her life is more complicated than it originally seemed. Rebound is a book about a boy who's struggling with the loss of his father, and his mother is at her wit's end, and so she sends him to his grandparents in order to find himself and find happiness, which he does. Booked is another one by Kwame Alexander. That's who Rebound is by. He has a great way of playing with words and using poetry and keeping things in short stanzas for the reader who doesn't typically enjoy reading. He's a great author. The Crossover is another one of his, and this is one where two boys are dealing with the inevitable loss of their father to heart disease. There is the Track series by Jason Reynolds. And basically it's about four different characters, and in each book they come together and you see how each of the characters struggled. For example, Ghost was shot at by his father. He and his mother were shot at by his father, and he lives in the back of a store of a man who helped them out. We have Lou, who is African American, but is born albino, and he struggles with his identity. Then we have Patina, who lost her father at a young age, and then she has a mother who lost her legs to diabetes. So she and her sister have been adopted by another family. And then we have Sunny, who was born to a mother who lost her life during childbirth, and he deals with his father's resentment and anger about those issues. Next, we have Ghost Boys by Joel Parker Rhodes. And this is a book about a young kid who is playing with a toy gun and is shot and killed by a police officer. And this is a book about not only justice, but healing as well. A Good Kind of Trouble is about a young girl who is an eighth grader, and she's dealing with all the typical friend eighth grader stuff that kids deal with in middle school. And on top of it, her sister is an activist. And so eventually she becomes an activist herself and wears an armband for Black Lives Matter. And she gets a lot of resistance from that, including from her own principal. The Hate You Give is a great book to teach students if you're dealing with anti-biased framework. So this book would fit nicely into the activism section for the curriculum. It's about a girl who witnesses the death of a young man, and she is threatened by gangs and suffers through all kinds of adversity to do the right thing. Jacqueline Wood's Song and Brown Girl Dreaming. This is a book that is written in the form of poems, multiple poems. It's about a girl who is born, and her mother shortly thereafter leaves her father. And it shows the struggle of adversity in the 60s for herself as a Black African American woman, female. I wanted to throw in one graphic novel for the younger ones. So this is Twins, and it's a cute story about it's middle school, again, with the hardships that typical students go through in middle school. And these two girls are twins, and they have they both run for president for student council. Class Act is a middle school graphic novel, and it again deals with all the typical middle school stuff, but there is a layer of dealing with prejudgments and prejudice in this book. A couple that I wanted to mention that I don't have copies of, because when you read 3 books a week, it starts to get a little bit expensive. Dear Martin and Dear Justice are great books. Dear Martin is a book about a young man who is wrongfully arrested by a police officer, a racist police officer. And Dear Justice is a story of a less privileged student. Justice is in Dear Martin, and he's a privileged student who goes to an expensive private school. And Dear Justice is from the point of view of a poverty-stricken student who is less privileged and has to deal with more adversity. The Stars Beneath Our Feet is a book about a young boy who loses his brother, and he uses Legos in order to cope with that and becomes friends with people he never thought he would be friends with, as well as Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, who also is dealing with the loss of his brother and struggles with whether or not he needs to join a gang and avenge his brother's death. I hope that you got some ideas from the summaries of these books. And if you like hearing about teacher things and about curriculum and books, then please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.